Welcome to Axium Portal Software. In this video, we'll be showing you how to set up a KPC 2.8 touchscreen. And we're going to kind of do it from scratch. You have a couple of options with a 2.8 touchscreen. You can actually use templates to set up your system, or you can just simply go ahead and build it from scratch. Certain things you need to do before you do that, and one is to pull a controller into your system. We've done that. We brought in an AX800. And we've also added to that our IR devices, and we've also gone into the 800 and we named our sources. So next thing we're going to do is go up here to in the project view, we're going to pull down from the device tree, go ahead and add a 2.8 KPC to our system here. Once you pull in the 2.8 KPC, this is how it looks. It's just a blank screen at this point. The first thing we're going to do with that is go ahead and add a background to it. The way you do that is from your image gallery here. Now, in your image gallery, you have a few choices. Once you click on it, it gives you a certain amount of backgrounds and things that you can actually add to your system. You can choose from one of the existing backgrounds, or you can go down and select from the wallpaper that we already have built into the system. From here, you can simply choose one of these wallpapers as your background. And you have a lot of choices here. So we're going to go ahead and choose from here, I don't know, maybe energy. This is what the background of our keypad is going to look like. From here, you go back to your gallery and you simply choose how you want your buttons to look, how you want them to actually show up. In this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose from the list here. And let's say we choose black glass at this point. Okay, we're going to go ahead and choose black glass. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add buttons for our sources. Go ahead and drag those over. Hit one there. I'm going to go ahead and drop that up there. I'm going to add a second one for my second source maybe. I'm going to go ahead and just add enough buttons for my sources there. And we have 5 sources, so we'll go ahead and add 5 buttons to our system there. And just to make it uniform, I'm going to add a 6th button. We're going to make that a media button. Okay, what we're going to do with our buttons now is simply name them. We're going to name them for our sources. We're going to right click on the first button here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to name that CD. Okay, click OK. Now what I'm going to do down here where it says button properties and class, I'm going to add a class to that. Even though it's a CD button, it doesn't really know what to do when we push it. So we're going to go ahead and hit this drop down here. Go to Axiom. We're going to go to Source Select. And we're going to make this Source 1. So now when we hit this button here, it takes the Axiom to Source 1. We'll do the same thing for the next button. And we're going to go ahead and rename this button and call it Tuner. Go ahead to our class, Axiom, Source Select, make that Source 2. We'll do the same for the rest of our buttons. This one will be DirecTV. We're going to go ahead and make this one Source 3. And what we're going to do from here, this is a little bit different, not much. It's the same process. We're going to go ahead and name this last one Media. But when we select from Media here, we're going to do our drop down, go to our applets, and we're going to go to our sources, but we're going to go down and we're going to make it Media. It makes that a Media tab. So what that does, that goes to any media that's plugged into your system. It pulls a drop down. That'll include the front USB port that's on the 800, any NAS drives or computer drives that you would have on your system. That's how you would access them through this Media tab. Okay, one thing we can do, our Apple TV is a little bit large there. We can go ahead and resize that right there. And maybe make that font maybe a little bit smaller so it fits the entire button. Yeah, more aesthetically pleasing for me there. Okay, what we're going to do now, this is our home page. And these are our sources. When we hit these sources, they're actually going to switch the Axiom to these actual sources. What we need to add to that, though, is a way to control maybe our volume and things. So we're going to go ahead and grab this taskbar. What this taskbar is, gives us a power button. Gives us a volume up, a volume down, a mute button. In the simplest form, we could leave this just like this and use this. We could upload this and use this as our keypad. What it would do is simply switch sources and give us volume control over these sources. But since this is a touchscreen, we want a lot more functionality out of this. To get more functionality, what we're going to do is add pages for these devices. When you do that, we're going to go ahead and add a CD page. The first thing you do, go up to Resources, click New Page. I'm going to name that CD. Into there. And now this is the actual CD page. Okay, now what we can do, we could, if we wanted to, go up button by button and go ahead and build us a CD page, or we can go ahead and use one of the pre-made templates that we have here. In this case, for CD, we'll go ahead and grab a CD. Now we're going to go ahead and manipulate this a bit. We have some forward and backward buttons. We want to go ahead and put those in a place where they're not on top of the other things here. So remember, we're customizing this page here. And now, if you don't like the way that looks, because I'm getting the feel right now, I don't like the way that looks. So what I'm going to do is this. I could actually change my background. Even though I've done that already, maybe it's not the best color for it. Why don't we go ahead and just click on a different color. Makes our buttons a little bit more visible. Now, remember, we're only affecting the page that we're on when we do that. So if we want to change our home page at this point, we'll do the same thing. We'll just click on that. And maybe that's the color we'll use going forward here. Okay, so we have our CD page now, and we actually have our home page. And what we're going to do is add another page. Go ahead and click Page here. Okay, and the next page we're going to actually add, go ahead and name it Tuner. To our tuner, we're going to add functionality for our tuner. What we need to operate our tuner, probably numbers. It's probably going to be a number thing where we're going to actually operate our tuner. Okay, now we can add something different, maybe some preset stations for our tuner or something like that. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and manipulate this to kind of get this thing to where I want it, and I know it's going to be functional. Okay, so at this point I can go forward, I can go back and still actually access that. Now we have a tuner page. I'm going to go ahead and add another page. I'm going to call this one DirecTV. I'm going to add a second page for DirecTV, because even though we need a number page, we're going to need a second page for DirecTV. We're going to call it a navigation page or nav page. Okay, we're going to go back to DirecTV, and what we'll do, grab the first thing that we would need to actually operate a DirecTV. And what would that be? That would be numbers. Go ahead and click on the number page here. Okay, once again, we're going to go ahead and manipulate that so we can actually use these buttons as well. And they may not quite fit. If not, we can drag them over the top of the other ones. Like that. Or, another thing we could do, we know that DirecTV does not require a clear button. We can cut that clear button. Does not require enter button. Not for this point anyway. Go ahead and click that out. Move these buttons up right here. Manipulate it to make it fit. Make it look good for you. Okay, we're going to add a second page for DirecTV. I'm going to add a navigation page for DirecTV. And we know it needs that. DirecTV does require these buttons here. Okay, so what we could do here, we need to actually make all of this fit on here. Maybe for this page, we need to just go ahead and highlight this and delete that. And make room for these buttons here. Or we can get rid of these buttons and make them smaller buttons, or whatever it takes to kind of get you there. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go ahead and do it that way. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add another page. We're going to call this page our Blu-ray page. And we're going to add a second page, because Blu-ray also requires a navigation page. So for our Blu-ray, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add a transport page for our Blu-ray. Okay, once again, we're going to manipulate that a little bit. We're going to make these things fit in here. Okay, we're going to add a Blu-ray navigation page. And what we're going to do now, we're going to add one more page, and we're going to call this page Apple TV. Okay, and on our Apple TV page, we don't have the exact Apple TV transport, but we know we need a cursor group. And this would be a cursor group. So what we're going to do is make this our Apple TV page and eliminate things that are not on Apple TV. Okay, the way we do that is this. Click here. This button is not on Apple TV. We can delete that button. Same here. Apple TV does not require colors. So we're going to delete those pages there. Okay, Apple TV does not have an information button. So what we're going to do, we're going to eliminate that button there. And we're going to add a new button. Our own button. Button that looks like the button that's there, of course. Which is this. Apple TV, however, it does require a play button. So we're going to go ahead and name that button Play. And of course, we want to try to match the color there. I believe that's white, so we're going to go ahead here and make that white. Okay, maybe match the font size. I'm going to guess that that's about 16. We'll see how that looks. And we'll hit OK. And there you go. Now we created a play button, a menu button. All the things that DirecTV requires. Now, at this point, these pages don't really mean anything. Reason being, if you look at the pages right now, and if you look at all of them, they have these little screw terminals. Those screw terminals means that they require programming. It means that these buttons, if I click on play, you see it has no action to it. Even though it knows it's a transport button, it has no idea what to do with that transport button. There's no action associated with that. The way you program these buttons is this, the same way you would program them. You should know that by now. But what we're going to do is go ahead and go here, go to our CD page, go over to our CD right here, which is already associated with our 800. Grab that CD and just drop it right here on the empty spot. And what it does is automatically populates all of those buttons. If you notice now, we do have a play button. We do have a pause button. We do have a stop button. If you have buttons that do not populate like this one, there could be a couple of reasons why it doesn't. For one, it just didn't take, or two, doesn't have a class associated with it. One way to find out is just click on that button over here, and you can go ahead and find that repeat command. Take that repeat command and just drop it on there. Okay, so what we did, went ahead and now we have that repeat command on there. Okay, we're going to come back to these buttons here. I'll explain those in a moment. We're going to go ahead to our tuner. What we're going to do now is go ahead and grab our tuner and drop that on there. See what it populates. Populated all of those buttons there. It doesn't have an enter, doesn't have a clear. Maybe we don't need them. So let's eliminate them. We're going to cut that clear. We're going to cut that. And we're going to move these up to make it more proportionate. Okay. The 0 will leave simply because it's a 0. So we'll just go ahead and leave it there. Okay. Or we can replace that command with something else. Let's take a look at that carver and actually see. Maybe this is a command we may want to replace that with. Not one that I could see. But what I can't see is missing from here is a tuner up or a tuner down button. Okay, how do we get that tuner up or tuner down button? There's a couple of things we could do. We can go ahead and move these buttons out of the way again and maybe make room for a couple of more buttons here. Go here, see if we can find some smaller buttons. Maybe that will fit. Let's try this. And let's try this. We can make more room for these. But now we have a tuner up and a tuner down. We can go ahead and give it a command. Go back to our tuner here. Let's go ahead and make this a tuner down button right here. Let's go ahead and make this a tuner up button here. Okay. Or any way you want to manipulate that. If you want, you can use different size numbers. You can add a couple of more buttons, add an AM and an FM. You can eliminate these buttons. You can eliminate this. Any way you want to set it up. Okay, we go to our DirecTV. Now DirecTV, right here, what does that require? It requires us to go to our DirecTV, take it and drag it, drop it here. Okay, it's going to populate all those numbers that's associated with DirecTV. Go to our second DirecTV page. Go ahead, grab our DirecTV, drop it on that page. Any button that's associated with DirecTV gets populated there. Okay, it doesn't have an info button. Maybe there's a different button we can use. One way to tell, once again, go to DirecTV. See if there's a different button you would want to replace that with, or not use that button at all. But there seems to be an info button that didn't populate. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll click it, and we'll drag it there. And we do have that information button. Okay, our Blu-ray player is the same way. Grab our Blu-ray player, and drop it here. Any button that doesn't populate, maybe we don't need it, maybe we do. We'll go to our second Blu-ray page. We'll grab that, we'll drop that there. Any buttons that don't populate, once again, you can cut them, or you can replace them with a different command that you may need. Okay, all of our pages are now programmed. There's only a couple of things left to do with this. One would be to do this. Actually associate these pages. The way you do that is this. We're going to go back to our home page, take our CD page and drag onto the CD command. And now what happens when you push that CD button, it goes to that CD page. It changes that input to that source. We'll do the same thing for our tuner. Same thing for our DirecTV. Same thing for our Blu-ray player. And the same thing for our Apple TV. Okay? The media button, it already knows what to do. It doesn't have to flip a page. It's automatically going to do that because it already knows what to do. Okay? Apple TV, we told it what to do. DirecTV, Blu-ray, tuner. It's all now programmed and ready to go. This keypad can be uploaded at this point and used exactly how it is. But there's something that we're forgetting. And remember the arrows that I talked about. I'll show you why the arrows are important. If we go here to the simulator, click on the simulator, we can go to that CD page and we can go back. Go to tuner page, we can go back. DirecTV page, we can go back. But remember, we have a second DirecTV page. It's not going back. It's not going to that page. So what we have to do is this. We'll go to our first DirecTV page. You see this button here? We want it to go to this page, so we're going to drag this page to that button. So now when we hit that button, it's going to go to that navigation page. Okay? We have the same thing with our DirecTV. We have a DirecTV here. We want to go to that second page. We want it to go there when we hit that button. Vice versa, when we go here, we want that to go back to here. We want this one to go home, to the home page. We'll do the same thing here. We want this, when we hit this button, to go back to here. We want this button to go to a home page. Okay? Apple TV, right now, look, we don't have a way of getting back at all. These are things you have to do when you're building your system. So what we need to do is maybe add a button that's going to take us back to a home page. Now, what we could do, we can add a button, or we can actually add an icon. Now, we could add this icon to every page if we chose to, if there's room for it. We can grab a house and say this house right here, that's our home. Right-click on that, and you can convert it into a button. Once it's converted into a button, it can take a command. The command is home. We could, if we wanted to, put this on every page. Remember, this is custom. You can make it look any way you choose to. We can put icons on all of these pages if we choose to. We can grab a Apple TV icon maybe, so we know that this is an Apple TV page. Maybe we'll put that there. Maybe we'll do the same thing for our Blu-ray player. Maybe we'll grab a Blu-ray icon and we'll drop that there, so we know what page that is. any way you want to do it. Remember, this is a customize. You're customizing this. Maybe a satellite. Maybe we have a satellite that will fit. And we'll take a satellite and we'll stick that there, so we know what page we're on. Okay? And that's how you customize the keypad. This keypad is ready to be uploaded at this point. And what you would do to upload your keypad at this point is simply plug in the mini USB into your keypad. And you simply upload it into your keypad. So what we'll do is plug the mini USB into the side of our keypad. Okay, tap our keypad. And what we're going to do is go ahead in our software here, highlight that keypad, and upload the program. And now we're uploading that into our keypad. And once that's done, we're going to actually upload the same program back into our 800. Because remember, we made changes. Any changes that you would make to it, it would have to be uploaded back into the 800 as well as into the keypad. Okay, and here's our program. This is what we just uploaded. There's our CD page there. You can go back. There's our tuner page. You can go, remember, we put a home button on there. It's our Blu-ray page. Go to our next page. Go back. And that's how you custom build the KPC 2.8 keypad.